surprised at all Milwaukee's early success? They're a young team, but
no, they're playing hard. They're like all the young teams in this league. They're playing well, playing together. Everybody's accepting their role. Jason has them playing at a high level. The one thing that they're doing, they're controlling the tempo, controlling the game. With the offense. They're one of the top defensive teams in the league as far as defending. They're in the top 10 in a lot of categories on the defensive side of the ball. So we got to come in and, again, play physical offense, move the ball, move the bodies. We got to screen. That's one thing we got to do. We got to make sure we get physical hits to help our teammates. But again, we want to, as much as we can, to force the tempo of the game and not let them dictate the tempo of the game. I thought in the first half last night, Memphis did a good job of dictating the pace of the game and got us in kind of a slower paced game. And we got to force our will and make sure we try to enforce the tempo.
Obviously, preaching defense with a young team is not an easy thing. It's something that you did here. What's allowed them to have that kind of defensive success so far?
Well, it's a little bit easier with a younger team, I think. I think it's easier because we haven't created a lot of bad habits. You have to break those habits, and I think that's the main thing with a younger team. But he's got them playing guys that you would normally associate with being a defender. He's got them playing defense, and that's a credit to the coaching staff.
This may be a better situation for Jason, being able to mold the young guys as opposed to having the old vets in Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's done a good job. The staff's doing a good job of teaching, working. The guys are playing hard. They're a totally different Milwaukee team than they were last year. So, there's the difference is the coaching staff and Jason's the head coach and done a good job with them. I don't know what happened in Brooklyn or whatever, but they're doing a good job now with Milwaukee.
How big of a step forward have you seen Brandon Knight take this season?
He's playing at a different level. He's shooting the ball extremely well, scoring at a very high efficiency rate. Just doing an excellent job. I put him in the class as a Conley, that type of point guard right now. Put him in the class right there with Kyle, and just one of the top point guards in the league right now.
Dwane, would you say that last night's game against Memphis, that you guys played one of your most complete games, seeing that you kind of grinded through their style in the first half, were able to hang around, then the fourth quarter, your team did what they normally do? Well,
we did. We grinded out. We faced adversity, and that's one thing we're always talking about. There's a lot of times your shot's not going to fall. Things not just going to go your way, but you just got to continue to grind mentally through it and fight through it. And that's what we did. And we got the tempo to our taste at the end of the game, which is what we want to do. And again, that's what you got to do when you want to be one of the top teams in the league and continue to stay there. Is don't let adversity affect you. Fight through it. Stay together, and play to your identity and play to who you are.
You guys come through the homestand pretty well, 5-1 through the first 6. What you've seen overall for the length of time you've been here?
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult to do, Doug, is to play at home this many games in a row. It's just psychologically it's tough to go through the grind of the monotony of every other day or whatever the schedule was. I think our guys mentally fought through that. And that's something that's a credit to them. And that's what we've been preaching is, hey, fight through things mentally, be focused, don't let outside distractions get you out of what you want to do. So I've been, relatively pleased. We still have a couple more to go in this with the road game in between. But I really, like the focus of our team right now. We got to maintain it and be consistent with it. I think that's the main thing right now.
How important is it to have veterans like Chuck in the locker room, and also just to be able to bring him in the fourth quarter when he needs
It's huge. It's the veteran presence, the veteran understanding of what needs to be done. He knew exactly what needed to be done last night. And that's why, older players like that who accepts the role, Chuck hasn't played in 2 or 3 games or whatever it is. But he was ready mentally and physically to go in and do his job. And that's why has been in the league as long as he's been. And, we're very lucky to have a guy like Chuck as one of our vets coming off the bench.
That even just looking at matchups, he has a pretty good idea of when his skill set is going to be needed against certain players. Do you have to talk to him, give him a heads up before those games, or is he just kind of ready to go against?
No, he knows. He knows who he is and what teams, what matchups that he's needed. There's certain matchups that he's good, and he knows that before we know it because he's been in the league so long, and that's why you have veterans. That's why veterans are important in this league in those positions. So he has a good idea of what he's supposed to do.
Oh. Job to not have to worry about another guy when you have veterans like
Well,
that.
you don't want to take it for granted. That's something we don't want to do is take him for granted because we don't. Or Landry or guys like that. They're much appreciated. They're much respected by the organization. So you never want to do that, and it makes it easier to them to understand and have that experience to know that's what their job is, that's what their role is.
Obviously, no James Johnson. You see Lou Williams step up, but it must have been great to see Terrence Ross start to attack the basket that set up his three-point shot late in the game.
Especially in the fourth quarter. He struggled a little bit in the first half, but he got it going at the right time in the fourth quarter. Again, fight that consistency. Do it in the first quarter, second quarter, whenever you're in there. But he did it at the right time last night. It was he made some smart plays down the stretch. He attacked when the game gave it to him. He shot the ball when the game gave it to him. So he did a good job of reading those situations. And Lou did the same thing. Lou defensively went in there and dug out some steals, caused some havoc with his digs on the post, did some smart plays there and made some big key buckets for us, momentum buckets for us when he was in the third quarter.
You talked about raising the tempo, getting back to your tempo yesterday. Was that one of the reasons maybe why the assists went back up to where you wanted them to be, or just something else? Is there something you could point out of why?
That could be it, Ryan. I mean, we want to play that way, that push the ball, especially when we're small, is pass ahead attack. I think but we did. I thought for the most part we did a good job of moving the ball from side to side and created buckets for each other. And we have to do that. We have to be a help each other team, whether it's screening, whether it's moving the ball, whether it's attacking and kicking in the half-court game. So it was good to see us get that assist number up and keep those turnovers down.